I'm Marketing Sherpa reporter Courtney Eckerly, sitting here in the Media Center at Email Summit 2015 with one of our featured speakers, Jonah Berger. Hi, Jonah, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
So, how can an email marketer create a viral environment within their team?
Word of mouth is obviously extremely important to an email marketer. You have a list, there's some number of people on there, but to grow that list, you really need to get people to share your content. How can we make sure people pass on a piece of content that you wrote, pass on the email itself? And so word of mouth is a really important characteristic. We all know that word of mouth matters, but what's less clear is how to get it. And so that's what my book, Contagious: Why Things Catch On, is all about. Really about the science behind word of mouth and how we capture it. And so I think the key is really to think about both internally and externally, putting the customer or the consumer at the center. Too often we think about the product, but really think about the user, the person that's reading this. What drives them? What drives their underlying behavior? What's the psychology of sharing? Think less about the technology, more about the psychology, and you'll be much more effective.
And I noticed in your book and in your session today, you're going to be talking a lot about something called STEPS. Can you just give us a kind of a general overview of those?
Yeah, so in the book I talk about a framework called STEPS, which is an acronym. It stands for social currency, triggers, emotion, public, practical value, and stories. And each of those is a psychological factor that we found drives sharing in all the research that we've done. So I spent the last 15 years in this area. We've looked at thousands of pieces of online content, tens of thousands of brands, millions of purchases. And again we see it's not random, it's not luck, and it's not chance. There's really a science behind why things catch on, why people share stuff. Whether we're talking about why people click share on a piece of online content, or why they talk face to face about one brand rather than another. And so the STEPS framework captures those ideas, and through a mix of science and stories helps people apply them to think about how to get their own stuff to catch on.
Okay, so what are some examples that you have of marketers doing that correctly?
Yeah, so let's take the first one, social currency. The idea of social currency is the better something makes people look, the more likely they are to share it. And so, very simply, something makes us look good, we share it. Something makes us look not so good, we're less likely to share it. And so YouTube, I think, does a really great job of this. So they have a great part of their site called Trends, which actually tracks viral videos, and I'm an avid follower of that, of course. But they send out a weekly or bi-weekly email, really sort of updating people on what's going on, what some of the new trending stuff is. And it's a great example when you see that, you share the content because it shows you're in the know, right? You know something before everyone else does. It allows you to look like you're at the forefront of what's going on. Beyonce used that same idea a few years ago, not in an email context, but she came out with a new album, no advertising, no marketing. Put it up on Instagram, said, hey, I know my followers are going to be one of the first people to see this. They're going to want to be the first person in their network to share it, and that'll give me word of mouth. That's one example. Another great one from a completely different industry is Vanguard. So they do a great email called Money Wise, which is not maybe as exciting as the YouTube stuff, but equally important. They've done a really great job of showing useful information to someone in the financial space. So it's not yelling, hey, Vanguard's great, hey, Vanguard's great, but giving people useful content that helps them live better financially. If it's tax time, well, what should I be doing with taxes? If it's back to school season, how do I invest for college? Useful information that not only makes me feel in the know, but helps others, and that practical value or that usefulness will encourage people to share.
So what you're saying is email marketers should try to be more like Beyonce.
Definitely.
Actually, I think we all should maybe try to be more like Beyonce.
Fully agree. I work on it every day.
So what are some mistakes maybe that you've seen marketers make? What are some pitfalls?
I think there are two big mistakes. Well, there are more than two. First one is authenticity. So I think a lot of times marketers try to put on a personality that's not them. And I think consumers, customers can see that right away. Whether you're B2C or B2B, people know when you're trying to be something that you're not. So one is authenticity. The second is overselling. Everybody can tell when your email is just a sales attempt, sales attempt, sales attempt. If it's a sales attempt, people aren't interested. Word of mouth is 10 times more effective than traditional advertising because people know that they can trust it. If it seems like a blatant sales attempt, we click, we don't look at it, right? We press delete, we move on. And so we need to be more than a blatant sales attempt. We need to figure out how to give people useful content, how to activate emotion, how to tell stories, how to do these things that move beyond selling and more towards storytelling to be effective. And then I think the only other thing I would say is online is a powerful tool, but it's not the only way to think about word of mouth. Offline is also very powerful. And so really understanding the psychology, the why people share, and deploying that online and offline is much more important than just hopping on the bandwagon.
Great, Jonah, thank you so much for sitting down with me, and I can't wait to hear your session.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.